Hello. Recently, I was interviewed or asked to comment about where legal tech is headed, where AI in particular and legal tech is headed for the National Law Review, and along with 16 other or 15 other leaders in this area. And I answered some things. I was sort of very short, direct with my responses. And wanted to illustrate or expand on them a little bit more here. First question that was asked is, why are law firms hesitant to adopt AI tools? I had indicated that one of the main reason is fear. Perfect is currently the enemy of the good. And what I meant by that is that um, there is more news and more excitement about the risks associated with AI than sometimes there is the efficiencies and advancements associated with it. And lawyers, as lawyers, we're very risk adverse people. And when we see the notices or the news releases or news articles about lawyers getting in trouble for using AI in a bad way, by citing to things that don't exist, for example, that it scares everybody into reconsidering using it or reconsidering even looking at it as an option. The fact of the matter is that AI is incredibly efficient, and it is a massively beneficial tool for the industry, so long as you have some degree of checks before you're putting it out there. But it doesn't mean that everything associated with AI has to be complex, and everything has to be complex checked rather or reviewed. There's a differentiation within it. What I mean by that is that if you are going to be using AI to draft a document, for example, the material associated with the document can be very good overall and save you a lot of time in beginning drafting. You want to put something together, you know what you want at these main points, you know what these general facts are. You have AI, okay, give me an outline of what this looks like, and then the outline's put together. Maybe even sections that you want to draft within motions, for example, or briefs. Yeah, I can do a good job of putting that together. And you're not going to have very much editing associated with it. The time that things get into trouble, and lawyers get into trouble with AI, is with citations to cases that don't exist. That AI likes to say, here's the argument, and here's how you back it up with this case or that case, and sometimes those don't actually exist. There are reasons why it happens, but for the lawyer who's using it, the key is to look at the citations to make sure that they're accurate versus do the whole thing from scratch themselves. So with AI.law, for example, what we do is draft lawsuits, answers, discovery requests, discovery responses. When you draft a lawsuit with our product, with our tool, or answer a lawsuit for that matter, we can do dozens and dozens of pages of relevant, accurate pleading, whether it's your counts that pull the elements and then allege each factual allegation under each element, or for an answer, look at each individual allegation and appropriately answer it based on the facts of the client's situation. And you can do that within a few minutes. We've clocked a 47-page answer answering 388 allegations, not including defenses and affirmative defenses that we add in, at putting that together in about 6 minutes. Now, you're still going to read that as a lawyer, and you might find here and there that there's some variations that you say, okay, I would say this way or that way, and you're going to spend that kind of document, 47 pages. You're going to spend probably a half an hour to an hour proofreading it. But the key is that you're not going to spend 40 hours drafting it, right? You're not going to have to sit down and do all that from scratch. So that is so while there's review, there's still the bigger picture, a whole lot of savings with having AI do first drafts for you. And we're getting very, very good at even those first drafts, to where the review time period is relatively nominal for people who want to use it. So the fear is, I don't know what AI is. I've never used AI, or maybe I use it with chat a little bit. I'm seeing lawyers getting sanctioned or being called out by courts for these fake citations. I don't want to look at it. Let me bury my head in the sand. And that's no way to consider technology overall, but especially the efficiency associated with it. So with the degree of lawyers and folks that use AI and who's out there using it, sort of the technological adoption curve, if you will. We've got the early adopters are pretty well set. They're using AI, and we've got this next phase where we're getting people who feel a little bit comfortable with it, that they're getting in and using it. I saw the same things happen with Google pay-per-click, for example, 15 years ago when I 14 years, 15 years ago when I started my firm. Very few people were using Google pay-per-click to get advertising, and I could spend $500 a month to get more business that I knew what to do with. And now it costs over $500 just to get one new client on Google because the adoption curve is relatively slow with lawyers. But it's definitely there, and the people that were there first, and the people that started doing this first, got there faster and have better positioning than those that it took a while to do it. And we're seeing that same thing happen with AI. The law firms that are adopting AI faster are the ones that are going to excel, succeed, and make more money as time moves on. Um, the firms that want to stay behind, especially with billing models, and try to continue to do everything by scratch, their clients are going to understand, especially their more technologically advanced clients are going to understand that is the way of the past, and they're going to be expecting a lot more efficiency with AI. So fear being the big reason why we don't have greater adoption, but in reality, we need to get over it. And the way that we get over it is we understand it. We dive into some details. We understand what the parameters of AI is and what we're looking for and what we have. And then that helps us move forward and get beyond where we are right now. Like I said, I have said before, the law firms that have not adopted AI within the next 10 years are going to be out of business. It doesn't make any sense for companies and for clients to pay lawyers as much as they have to do things by hand when AI can do it all autonomous with a good head start for their services. So next question we had was, where does AI excel and where is it still overhyped? AI can do a lot more than people think that it can do. I've said this a number of times, but for us with AI.law, AI's ability to do things is only limited by our software development status and skills and the time that it has taken to develop the actual software. There's really two layers to AI. There's the LLM layer, the large language models. Think OpenAI's GPT. Think of Claude, Anthropic, Google Gemini, the other ones that are out there, DeepSeek. You get the idea. Those models are designed and focus on taking information and allowing a user to ask a question or type something in, and then it provide accurate responses back. It's ultimately making predictions on the words that you expect to see based on the context and the content that you enter in as a user. So that is the baseline. Those companies are focused on how do we get better results, more accurate results for our users. They are not the applications that users are ultimately going to use in most software applications. So think of it in terms of email, right? You have the email infrastructure, you have the data networks that help email move from one thing to the next, from one computer to the next, from our phone to the computer to wherever, to the next person, wherever they are in the world. That system is different than Outlook or Gmail, right? The software that we use it to interact with email is different than the infrastructure built to move email. That's how I view AI and the difference between the LLM structure, the foundation, and then the application structure that we're all building on right now. So when we have looked at building AI from a application standpoint, me as a founder of AI.law, founder of an AI legal tech company, what I focused on was not necessarily how do I build an LLM. I actually tried that back in the 2000 or so, 2020, excuse me, to try to get the software to give me issue spotting is what I want to start out with. And we realized it was just too big of a lift to do on our own. But with GPT, ultimately OpenAI ultimately coming out, and then I started to get involved about really with GPT-3 in early 2023, the functionality was really there to do some really neat things with it with law. So the infrastructure built on top of the LLMs is the application phase that we're in, and that is really what we're talking about in terms of where is AI overhyped or where it's not. I wouldn't go into an LLM. An LLM itself, people could say, oh, it's overhyped. You can't really do a lot of stuff with an LLM that's really complex in law. My response to that is, yeah, for the most part, that's true, right? The complexities associated with putting together a 40-page complaint or a 40-page answer is unbelievably exponentially difficult for an LLM by itself because it's trying to predict one word after another, after another, after another. Now, maybe that's a little bit easier for something that you have a structured document coming in like a complaint and you need to respond to it for an answer. But it's enormously difficult for a complaint to structure that. So when people say AI, yeah, it's not really good at doing that, what they're really talking about is the level at the LLM. The level on top of the LLM is where we build, and LLMs are fantastic at doing what we need them to do as an application developer, because the LLMs can do small chunks of analysis very, very well. So from a software application standpoint, what we've been able to do is develop a system of manipulating, if you will, or directing the LLMs. We use different ones for different purposes in order to help us create and build this fantastic document, this best in class. We filed in court, right? After a brief review kind of thing that blows people away when they see it, because the application phase, manipulating the LLM, there is not a lot AI cannot do at that level. So our efforts are not, and the hype is not about the LLM level, it's about the application level. So we can do complaints, we can do answers, we can do discovery drafts of requests that are unlike better than a lawyer can do. And I'm saying that because what we do, a lot of lawyers, so at least I'd say 80-90% of the lawyers can do. What we can do with our discovery drafter, for example, is take the complaint that's uploaded, the answer that's uploaded, all the pleadings, if there are counterclaims, cross claims, whatever they might be, answers associated with those. We can take the documents that our client has, have it all uploaded, just that information. Then we can specify who's doing the request, who's going to be responding to the request. And from those things, just an upload and those two pieces of information, we can manipulate the LLM to understand what the claims are, what the dispute is between the two parties, what is admitted and denied between those, what are the defenses that are raised, what's the ultimate underlying dispute between the two parties. And then we can look at what our client has document-wise, figure out what our client has and what our client might need. And then look at the claims and the defenses, the elements associated with those, break those out and determine if we're going to either prove these as plaintiff or disprove these as defendant or counterclaim it or cross-claim it, however it might be. What evidence are we going to need from this responding party? And then we're able to go in and say, okay, based on this information, what requests for admissions are going to best attack the other side's position, what's going to best support our position, and then how do we phrase things to determine whether documents exist that is going to support our side of the case as well. We can go into and we can say, now production of documents, what documents might exist here, what ESI might exist, what kinds of things might exist. And then we can go to interrogatories and say, okay, now based on all that, what's left over that we need that we can't get with a POD or a request for admission? What kind of list, what kind of information, what evidence, what witnesses, all the things that high level lawyers are going to do in putting together a custom discovery spot request, we can do. So our application can do this. You can see it, and people don't believe it sometimes. Like, yeah, I test it out. You can free trial and reach out to us. We'll give you. You can test it out and see for yourself. And until they see it, they can't believe it because it seems so it seems so far advanced from what they're used to seeing with LLMs because of the hype, if you will. And that's because they're just not the application level. They're dealing with the LLM level. They're dealing with a baseline thing that doesn't give you the degree of complexity with the output that you actually need. So there's not a lot that AI can fail to do, so long as you are dealing with it from a process, from an application standpoint, and some bit of a software perspective. We're looking at building an autonomous litigation platform using AI. Now, people will be in the people will be in the input and the output process, but as far as in between, AI today can basically litigate a case for you and give you, okay, here's what you need to be doing, here's what's coming up, here's how you can do this and that. It's more of a, how do we program that, how do we break that out as a software developer to make sure that we're getting all the things that we need. And you need a subject matter expert for it, right? You need a good litigator in order to say, okay, here's how we're doing beginning to end. And if you do that, and then you've got good software people, then you can put it all together. But the hype is not about the capability. It's more of where we are. We just haven't caught up as people to and creativity and to put it all into practice. Okay, next question was, will hallucinations in legal aid tools ever be eliminated? Again, I think this is a little bit to the prior point. I think hallucinations can be eliminated today if you just work on the application level to do it. I think there's also a differentiation between um, hallucinations and providing citations. So the reason why we talk about hallucinations is because in the legal context, AI likes to make up case citations, right? It's, oh yeah, John Doe versus Sally Smith, 3FD 223 at page, whatever. And you're like, this doesn't even exist, let alone be at federal whatever page, you're looking at your citation. And I got some theories on why that happens, but the idea basically is that's not good for lawyers, right? It's not good for us to have citations being made up from scratch. So we're very conscious about it. And the question is prompted by this concept that this happens. The LLMs do this if you try to get it to do something. That's because it's trying to give you a citation. It's trying to match what it has in its library of knowledge or text, not knowledge. It's not smart. It's text. It's database. It's library of information. Is trying to parse out and create words from prior words in order to give you a citation. And it's letter to letter. So it doesn't exactly line up with what you really want from a library, which is, I don't want you to do your traditional word creation. I want you to go find. I want you to go find something that is specific to this issue that I have, and then give me the specific text as the citation that we're plugging in, right? So that's, let me go find citation, give you citation. That is a more challenging issue to resolve than to avoid hallucinations, right? Hallucinations you can have as an application lawyer. You can tell AI, hey, I have the citation, validate it for me, right? And it can go and validate it. If it says it's not real, well, then you know that it's not real. And there's ways you can manipulate that to make that happen. It's a whole nother ball game to say, give me an actual citation. It's something I think we have the solution on doing that. It's just a little bit more complex, and you need a library of cases in order to make that happen. But it's totally a doable thing to have. So citations, avoiding hallucinations is a lot easier. The tech is there to make that happen right now. Everybody can have avoidance of that if they just program it. The issue is once we get into citations, then it's a bigger lift. Can we get the right citation? That's a bigger lift. All right. How will AI change the billable hour model? Yeah, fundamentally. AI is going to change the billable hour because billable hours are not going to exist as we see them today in 10 years. Lawyers are going to be more managers of AI than they are drafters of legal documents or drafters of legal things. People or lawyers our skill set is going to be more put to use for strategy, for business support, for helping our clients avoid risk and enable their businesses and their whatever might be their issue, their businesses to grow. Even personal injury lawyers and other kinds of lawyers that do work on contingency, the amount of time and energy that they're going to be putting into to what they're creating is going to be different, and their billable equivalents, I think, are going to be, clients will begin to expect it to be decreased because there's going to be PI lawyers out there that begin using AI right away. We're seeing them adopting AI faster than large corporations, a lot faster than big law, even though big law has some of these fancy AI companies that they're adopting. They're not injecting, in my perspective, a whole lot of efficiency. It's more of, hey, let me help you find that document, or let me help you do a little bit to find something there than it is drafting. When we're talking about litigation and what we do drafting wise, and what we're able to create right now, we can create a whole complaint, right? That's AM100 quality. It's top, best class work that a lot of lawyers don't do when they draft documents. There's a lot of lawyers out there that I have litigated against that don't have all the elements pled in their counts. And AI can make sure that happens exactly every single time and not take 40 hours to do it or 20 or 30 hours to do it. So if AI can all of a sudden avoid all that, there's no reason for a client to be spending $10,000 on a complaint, or $50,000 or $100,000 on a complaint, depending on who you hire, if AI can do it very quickly. So lawyers will be more of, how do we work strategy? New associates are going to be learning a lot faster because they'll be able to see best in class right away. They're not going to have to spend the time that they spend right now in learning how to draft discovery or how to make sure they're covering all the bases in discovery or with pleadings or whatever it might be. It'll be given to them, and then they'll be able to work better within what they see versus, again, starting from scratch. So billable hour, maybe for drafting at least, it'll be fundamentally changed. It'll be more flat fee. It'll be more strategy. There won't be less work to do. There's this concept out there that the more efficient things become, the more work there is to do. And I can see that to being true with AI as well, because all of a sudden there's all these things that your client wanted to hire you to do and wanted you to do, but it was never financially feasible for them to do it. But now, because you've injected all this efficiency, now they can give you more work. So I think there's plenty of work to be done, and I think there'll be plenty of work to do, whether you're a gigantic company or gigantic law firm or small one. AI is going to be a huge benefit, and the companies that adopt it faster are going to have the competitive advantage because their clients are going to know this is better for me to step right in and do this right away. So, to the next point, the next question: will AI replace lawyers? And no, I mean that's for that reason. We're going to be managers of AI. We're going to be doing things that are deeper, higher level. We're not going to have to do this drafting that, frankly, a lot of us don't like to do anyway. I don't like to respond to discovery by figuring out all the objections, and then you spend hours just doing that before you actually get to your factual responses, and it becomes more of a game. And a lot of times for corporate law, that it becomes a billable game. They want to milk their clients sometimes for everything they can before they resolve it or settle it or do whatever it might be. So you end up with all of this extra work that's really unnecessary, but it makes everybody feel better, and it can make a difference within a case, which is why people tend to do it. Because if you can put the other side on defense, then you're more likely to have leverage to get deals done. But for the time that it takes, there's not going to be that financial incentive or that billing incentive to do those kind of things. If I'm going to file some silly motion to see if it sticks, and I know it's not going to, and I know there's 99% chance it's not, maybe somebody thinks, let's file it anyway. Maybe somebody else thinks, well, opposing counsel can knock this out in a minute with a good AI product, then why bother filing it? So I think what we're going to see is greater efficiency. It'll be faster. AI will be faster to respond, faster to get things done, faster to move a case along, which will be good for clients, and good for most lawyers. But it's the folks that are really focused on their billable hour to justify their existence are going to have the toughest time with this. Speaking of speed, the other things I'll mention is that from a court perspective, AI can already facilitate court decisions. We've got this sort of in the background that we're working on. It is not where AI decides a case, but rather where a judge can decide a case, but all the extra stuff that staff attorney is just adding in to make sure the record is complete. This person said this, that person said that. Those are things that AI can assist with. So there's a lot of the positive. The industry is definitely changing. The lawyers and the law firms that are getting into AI fastest and adopting it fastest with good quality products, good quality applications like AI.law are going to have a tremendous advantage moving forward. So best of luck to you, and hope this was helpful.